What's going on, Troy?
All right.
Evening.
That'd be the stupidest thing we ever did.
Betsy, how are you? October. Are you kidding me? Jesus.
What's new, George?
Just, it's getting dark too early. I mean, I love all that sunshine. And it just seemed like it went too fast. So, how are you been?
Yeah, good. Busy. Sorry I missed last meeting.
That's all right.
It was like
Things
a
happen.
it was a last minute.
Whenever that comes up, text me, just so
I don't have it. So what I did, I left a message for Pam,
Okay, good.
like around 4:30 or 5 o'clock that day,
Okay.
because my meeting, because my office, whenever I go to the office, is about an hour away.
You got a pencil?
I don't want to push it around my
Let
phone.
me give you, yeah. Tell me when you're ready.
But
860-485-2027. The only reason really that's important is we're not gonna have a quorum. I don't want everybody here with, if they've got engineers, or, you know, their attorneys and all that business. Just helps.
hey, hey, how are you? I'll send you my contact.
Oh, okay, good. Is Milligan gonna be here?
Supposed to, yes. Yep. Yeah, there's still time, right? I think Todd wants to. Yeah.
How's the finger doing? Cool. Looking good. Coming back. Huh? Looking really good.
And there shouldn't be too much testimony. Like, just, I don't know.
No, I don't wanna, we're not gonna discuss. No.
How are you, George?
Good. Well, you're getting a lot of good press.
Whether we wanted or not, huh?
Yeah, right.
Free advertising, as they say, huh?
Well, I'll
Good or
tell you
bad?
what, you know what?
I know.
How many towns we all both go through and to see something that's taken care of on an entry point?
Not many.
Not many.
Not many.
I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I didn't know you did that.
For about 8 or 10 years.
Very commendable.
Been a few.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. How are you, Noah?
Good. Crowded tonight.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Well, I kind of
Good thing or a bad thing?
expected that. We're adding something here to it, huh?
Yeah, we'll just add it.
So much, short.
It's to do, apparently with the grading requirements is there. It's that Crescent Street that
Yeah.
goes up the mountain.
Right.
So that's a part of that, I guess. That, I didn't hear about it before.
Oh, okay.
So Craig obviously is over at Litchfield Wood.
Is that where he is?
Yeah, I went over to see him.
Okay,
He's
I've
doing
been
a
gonna
lot
call and I
better.
haven't called. I've been going around crazy every day.
Well, same thing I've tried to do.
Well, he
you
was
know,
home,
to get
wasn't he
over-
originally, you said?
No,
Oh,
he
he
was
didn't.
supposed to go home.
Well,
Then he
Litchfield
had
Woods is
some
good for
setbacks.
rehab. Yeah.
And so he stayed probably a week and a half there in Hartford.
Okay.
And then Ruth picked him up and brought him to Litchfield Wood. It's all for physical therapy for his hip because
Yeah.
he just, well, you're off your feet for that many.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you lose so much muscle mass. That's for sure. So hopefully you get him on his feet, you know?
He's, food is always a wonderful thing in both places.
Right,
You
yeah.
know?
And he's got the willpower, that's the main thing. And the attitude. Good or bad.
Right. So,
Yeah.
Hey, Ben Pom.
let's sit back. That's something, been a file.
What's that? Four houses, yeah.
Four new ones.
Oh, yeah.
Had a guy on,
Yeah, not recorded, yeah, I see that. Thank
Lover's
you.
Lane. Foundation in, got the bid for, he had it all out of pocket with the well in, all the, everything ready to go for the house. Got a bid for the house, the guy said 800 grand, he goes, I'm not building it this year. No way. And that's for 2,000 square foot house. Wow. I asked him, I went by, I'm like, you're not building it. This is why. I can't afford that. Like 7,500 for that man.
When they do it, they know what wetland wants it. We want it. Done. We all live in town.
Pam, did John call?
No,
So we expect these.
yeah, so he'll probably be here.
You have a message when I left, he mentioned that I'm 50/50.
No,
for
today?
No, like 2 meetings ago.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't get it before, but
Yeah, because
they had it for
when
me.
I was in the meeting, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna stay. It was like 5:30. And you get have meetings in December, right? I mean in November.
Yeah, we did.
Close it up. Pam just put this on our desks, we're gonna add that to the agenda. Schedule a special permit for public hearing.
We gotta have a public hearing next
The next 2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks from now, yeah. Next meeting. Can't do anything on it tonight.
No, that's why if Todd was here,
Yeah.
we're not gonna,
Yeah, no. Was Kevin coming tonight or not?
he's supposed to be, yeah.
That's good.
I want him to set the stage for what the heck this is all about. It's not a rehash of what we're,
Yeah, we don't wanna spend too
no,
long time.
no, we're not doing that.
No, me either.
We've had those, that's business as we had here.
We've had that for 4 years.
I save money.
Exactly. What's the problem
Tax
with that?
dollars.
No problem with that. One o'clock this morning.
Where were you?
This one, Florida.
get asked that question so many times.
Yeah.
People down the lake that know the schedule, should know the schedule.
There might be
never know.
difficulty finding parking because there's 3 meetings going
Oh,
on.
that's right, yeah, sewer and water and
Yeah. School
Board
board.
of Education.
Board of Ed too. Yeah.
That was,
That's why I parked out back, so a lot of people did.
Just gonna hold up for a few minutes. We're waiting for Attorney Nelligan to show up to the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Second Monday of every month, right?
Second and fourth. So tonight's Tuesday because
Right, no, I
yesterday
know
was,
that.
yeah,
So it's gonna be the 8th.
and the 22nd.
Oh,
Here it comes.
Okay, it's 2 minutes after 7. Call the Tuesday, October 12th, regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order. I'm George Clausen, the chairman. Craig Sand is absent excused. John Cooney is to my right. Peter Marchand to my left. Willie Platt. Troy Lemire is, I'm going to seat you tonight in place of Craig tonight. Troy, Charlene Lavoie is absent excused. Felix Steiner is here as an alternate. We've got the agenda calls for public comment with regards to item A, which is accept public comment on proposed settlement between East Coast Assistant Dogs Incorporated versus the Planning and Zoning Commission of the town of Winchester. Attorney Nelligan's here. I wonder if, Attorney Nelligan, you could just talk about why we're here for that?
Sure, you want me to sit here?
Sure.
Well, I'll just summarize where we are and why we're here. So right now, there are 2 pending appeals concerning this property. The first one was brought by ECAT against the town, and that pertained to his original request for site plan approval. And the commission heard them and stated that changes were too significant and detailed to warrant just a site plan modification, and indicated that he'd have to apply for a special permit. He appealed that decision. It was put on hold. We had some pre-trials with the judge. The parties decided to try and work the dispute out, and it was decided that, in fact, ECAT would apply for a special permit, and then see what happened. And so you went through all that process, and ultimately a special permit with conditions was granted. So the purpose of the first appeal really has become moot, meaning the town's position was apply for a special permit. The applicant did that, the plaintiff did that, it was granted. So really what the town wanted the applicant to do in the first appeal has been done. And there really isn't anything left to the appeal. But under the rules, you can't settle a zoning appeal without first having a public hearing, which you're having, allowing the public to comment, voting on the proposed settlement, and then the court will also have a hearing to approve or disapprove the settlement. So it's sort of a two public, not really public hearings, but 2 opportunities to be heard, both locally here, and then ultimately if it's approved tonight by the board, presented to the Superior Court, and the judge will have a hearing. We have reviewed this with the judge, I'd say a couple weeks ago, and she's in approval of the process. She hasn't predisposed whether she has anything about the settlement, but she's approved of, obviously, because we're following the practice book, this process. So, I think, they have this.
Yes.
So what I propose, the proposed stipulated settlement is nothing more than the special permit already granted.
Okay.
And the terms. It's granted permit originally, which was same language basically, with all the same conditions. So the purpose of the hearing tonight is not to litigate or argue or take evidence or anything like that regarding the substance of the application. It's whether or not the town should settle the case. Which is, sometimes you come in here, the original application was for 100 units, you're gonna settle, parties agree to settle for 50 units. And the question is, the public can comment, you shouldn't have any units, or it should be 20 units, or something like this. Here, you've pretty much already, the applicant's already done what you asked them to do. You know what I mean? So, there's not much really left to the first lawsuit, first appeal. So, but, like I said, you've gotta go through the process and, go through this step, and then the next step will be, if it's approved tonight, submitting it to the Superior Court for the judge to have a hearing and
So,
decide on it.
so the comments from the public that are attending tonight, based on, Pam, you can read the public announcements that you advertise after we finish here, or before we finish, or get going a full evening tonight. But, so the question is, should we or not approve the settlement as you described?
Right.
Not the discussion of whether we put enough plants in there, or whether
Right.
it's, none of that.
No.
Okay, just so we can be clear.
Right.
All right. Does everybody have a clear understanding on the commission about what we're doing? Okay. Then, Pam, you had a responsibility to advertise this?
Yeah, but can I do that after? Cause I gotta
Sure.
pull it up, I don't have it.
Oh, okay, all right. We'll read that into the record with regards to
Yep.
the advertising case.
The certificate of mails have been submitted, and those were, provided, by, ECAD. And those, they were, provided by, my office with the Excel file of abutting properties according to the assessor's records. And I'll have that legal notice.
Okay. So while Attorney Nelligan's sitting, do you, anybody on the board have any questions about what we're here for with regards to this issue? Okay, all right. So Kevin, are you all set with?
Yeah, I'm set, yep.
All right, so anybody in the audience would like to speak to what Attorney Delegan has talked about with regards to this settlement issue that we're trying to bring forward tonight?
I have a question regarding the notification of neighbors.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I recently bought 147 Newfield Road, and I never got a notification.
Yeah, and usually, because you're here,
Right.
you found out about it.
No,
so-
yeah, yeah,
Yep, and I know there was a sign taken and installed.
Okay.
Also, George, this is, we did notice the same as you would do for an application, but the practice book does not require it. All you really have to do is post it on the agenda.
I see, okay,
So
thank you.
anything beyond that is.
Just,
The important thing is that we're trying to get everybody, if there is an issue, the court has a procedure, that's what we're trying to follow. I'll be frankly, I thought that if the case was, we wanted to have a special permit applied for, and it was, the first case should have just been pulled back. But since I don't have the legal experience, Attorney Nelligan tells us what the procedures are, so we're just fulfilling that.
Yeah, no problem.
So, anybody here in the audience would like to speak for or against this settlement?
I'm still finding the app, but it has been posted on our town website as soon as I got direction from Attorney Nelligan to while we're not obligated to, like we were under the governor's executive order during COVID, with remote meetings, and I try to do it when I can. This one, I made sure I did it right away so that anyone, who may strike them at 7 o'clock at night and there's no one in the office and they want to see what the settlement agreement, both the settlement agreement was posted as well as the decision letter from June 4th, 2021.
Thank you.
From the May 24th, 2021 special permit approval. So both of those were there.
Okay. So again, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to the question of whether we accept this as a settlement or not?
Mr. Chairman, is there not another pending litigation against this process?
Yes, this is just the first issue that was with regards to, the applicant came in and brought just a site plan modification to us. As Attorney Nelligan described, this commission felt that there was more going on that would require more scrutiny through a special permit process, and that's what we recommended. His attorney at that time decided that that was a denial, and then he appealed it, and that's what this is. That's just that one case. It has nothing to do with a second, there's a second case, Attorney Nelligan. It's,
Yeah, what that impact has on the second case, that really is between second appellant, Mr. Pozo, and ECAP.
Okay.
Town would be
so that, this has no effect on that. This is the first appeal. Again, any comments from the questions or for or against this? Yes, sir. Would you identify?
I'd just like to encourage the board to pass this agreement.
Okay. Can you just identify?
We get on with it.
Can you identify yourself, sir?
I'm sorry.
Can you give us your name and address?
Yes, Charles Zitterzo. And what else?
Your address?
My address, 54 Yarmouth Road, Markham.
Okay. All right. Anybody else in the audience that has, yes, ma'am?
Hi, Linda Vivian, 158 East Wakefield Boulevard in Winston. And I'd like the board to go ahead with this and approve it. This has been going on long enough. And it seems everything's been covered and, there's no reason not to go forward and approve it, in my
Right.
opinion.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here? Do you have any more information on that filing?
Yep,
Okay.
and, just for the record, it was, published on, September 29th and October 5th, in the Republican American. Notice is hereby given that the Winchester Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, October 12th, 2021 at 7 p.m. in the P. Francis 6th room, located on the second floor of Winchester Town Hall, 338 Main Street, Winchester, for the following: possible action with respect to a proposed settlement agreement and the pending appeal, East Coast Dogs Inc., ECAD, versus Planning and Zoning Commission of the Town of Winchester, location 149 Newfield Road, map 042, block 154, lot 059, proposal modification of site plan. At this hearing, interested persons may appear and be heard, and written communications will be received. Copies of the above proposed settlement agreement will be available at the hearing and are available on the website for the Town of Winchester at the following, and it lists the website address, dated at Winchester, Connecticut, this 28th day of September 2021. George Clausen, Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, Troy, let's just come around the table. Do you have any questions with regards to what we're going to be discussing?
Nah.
Okay. Willie?
No.
Peter? John? Okay. And I don't have any issues to raise. I'd like to propose a stipulated settlement. A special permit is granted on the following submitted plans and drawings. Site plan prepared by Jason Dismukes Consulting Engineers LLC, entitled East Coast Assistance Dogs, ECAD. Site plan, original site plan approved April 11th, 2016. Site plan modification approved May 14th, 2018, dated December 10th, 2020. Revised through 2/28/21, 3/15/21, and 4/14/21, inclusive of sheet C1, which is a cover sheet, C2, existing conditions of building envelope, C3, overall site layout plan, C4, site plan, C5, miscellaneous details, C6, miscellaneous details. The special permit is granted with the following conditions. One, these masks and fog and glasses are a lot of fun. One, silt fence to be installed immediately upon issuance of a building permit. Buffer area to be installed prior to the rest of the site work. Relocation, better positioning of plants along building. One shall be made in the field prior to the issuance of the foundation permit. 3, fence adjacent to the southerly residential property shall include meshing that mimics vegetation. 4, landscape bond of $5,000 shall be submitted for a term of 5 years from the date of this approval. 5, updated site plan shall include conditions of approval to be submitted to the planning department. 6, State of Connecticut licensed professional engineer shall inspect water quality basin and submit findings in a report to the planning department on an annual basis. 7, bituminous curbing shall be installed on the southerly side of the driveway in the section from the smaller garage leading to the new parking lot. 8, operating hours shall be from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for 7 days per week. 9, roof color of new building must be a non-reflective color / material. 10, the commission recommends the applicant include landscaping to buffer noise of new mechanical equipment to building 2. 11, Knox box shall be installed on building 2. 12, applicant shall update staff on final location of spoils removed from the basin. 13, buffer landscaping shall be replaced should any plantings die. Do we have a second on that proposed
second it.
stipulation? And do we have a discussion from anybody on the board? John? All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Unanimous? Okay, is that all we need to do, Attorney Nelson?
So I'll file it's a joint motion for stipulation, so we, the town and the plaintiff will submit it probably this week, and,
Okay.
you know, within 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have a hearing with the court, we'll get notice of that, I'll let you guys know too. And, as soon as the judge does it, then probably will, almost certainly will be a remote hearing, so.
Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for attending for this.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, under agenda review, item 3, without objection from the commission, I'd like to add, under other business, number 1, the state land use law discussion, which is we had gone to a meeting, Troy and I went to over in this presented by the COG, and I'd like to talk about that just to get your thoughts on that as we go forward. And then we've got the marijuana bill that was approved. We've got to take that up with regards to our consideration of any zoning. Thanks, Kevin. So I'd like to add that for later discussion. We don't have any public hearings.
You've got to add the Crescent Street thing to
Yes, I'm sorry. We've got the Crescent Street, wherever I get that. Thanks. My book. All right. I'd like to add the consideration of a special permit under new business number 6 for, it'll be PZC 21-08. Is that acceptable to everyone?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Peter. I'll get mine out. All right. And we have already taken care of the action on the first issue here, number 2. So let's go into that Crescent Street. Let's say, Pam, would you describe, I think you said it was something about there's a steep slope situation.
Yeah, it requires a special special permit according to the zoning regulations because of the steep slope.
Okay.
And so this got, this was a job that began, that got stopped, you know, and they abruptly stopped pursuant to the request made by staff. And the application was submitted today. Monday, town hall was closed. Leonard Engineering prepared what you have in front of you. It'll make its way. Inland Wetlands Commission is gonna review their erosion control plan. And, you know, we'll get comments from other staff as well. And so if you'd mark it for a public hearing for October 25th.
Okay, do we have a motion to put that on the agenda
So
for
moved.
that?
I'll make that motion.
And do we have a second? Second, Troy. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, minutes from the September 13th meeting.
Make a motion, we approve.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any changes or alterations or anything? All in favor? Thank you. Okay. Communications, Pam?
Just, you had in your package a communication from zoning enforcement officer Michael Stankoff, just to provide you with an update on the earth excavation special permits. You know, there were 4 that he identified, and you can see the progress that is being made.
Okay.
Just a question on that, Pam. Has he looked at that one on Torringford Street? I think it's 257 Torringford Street where we had the
I think
ongoing
he's
issue.
been out there, but I don't think he's had any direct discussion with the new owner.
By there
about
today,
getting
there's
in
still
here.
signs up for topsoil and fill and material and stuff. There's
He's
signs
aware
by
of
the
it,
road. Yep.
and I expect that he will be
Okay.
also inviting him to apply as well.
Okay, that's good.
Is this somebody that's local, or is it the one that's in Texas or something?
No, it was
Somebody
the
local?
operator, former operator, new owner.
Oh, okay.
Slash new
All right,
owner.
Good. That was
Yeah, that's good.
mentioned earlier. That's good to keep something.
Yeah.
I brought up that business on,
Woodland Avenue, he's looking at. There's another one on Danbury Quarter Road that is going to be reviewed.
Is that 182?
173.
What about the one at 182? Did we renew that one? I know we did one down there.
182, what street?
Torringford, or Torrington Road.
Yeah, that, I think, 182, Torrington, which one is that? You'll have to,
which
I know we don't like
one are
to
you
check
speaking
names.
of?
It's one right after Canavos. It's,
That one is not up yet. I don't think that's Pierre.
Pierre, yeah, the Torrington Diesel.
Yeah,
Oh, no, he's religious.
that's gotta be.
Yeah, he's been pursuing
usually
that.
he
You
comes
can, you
with
can
right
set your
after.
watch to him.
Gordy Pepper has passed away.
Yeah.
It's,
right, this is right after Canavos.
yeah, that's
You go up a steep bank.
Torrington
around.
Diesel,
Right, yeah.
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 He's been, but that's what I brought up, because these can get lost in the, you know, the shuffle, but that's a still current, that one. I
Oh,
believe.
yeah, the, you know, 23 months he's here.
Like clockwork.
Was the 178, what is that, 3, my glasses? 173, is there ever an application put in for that?
No, there is one expected.
Okay. Cause there's been a lot of work without an
Well,
application.
actually,
That's the Canaveral piece.
yeah, we're waiting on his response.
Well, Mark called me a week or so ago and brought up, I think, what you had told me in the office, or what our zoning enforcement person has talked about. And he claims that he's got some grandfather information there. But one of them was signed by Nancy Eisenlohr, who was the mayor, which really doesn't have any jurisdiction over
No.
zoning issues.
No.
She also was a partner of Tony, or Mark's father, so that also kind of shades the approval letter. But Mark had indicated to me that because they did take a lot of sand and other materials and mine it, but he says right now, all they're doing is processing material that they're pulled off their site across the street,
Yeah, a lot of it.
and they're just
Across the street.
working that rather than,
There's a wall built there, a block wall, I don't know if you saw that.
On the right side, across from motor
Correct.
vehicles. Yeah, that was all approved by us a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's approved, that,
Yeah,
we're talking
that's-
about the quarry?
they're-
We're talking about their yard.
Oh, okay,
yard.
okay, I thought we were talking about.
he got approval on everything that's on the
There's
where
a
his
wall there,
office
there's
is.
gonna be a building there, like an office building.
Yes.
That was all approved by us.
And part of the thing was he's gonna move material off of that, stage it over at their
Right, and
yard.
they crush it across the street.
Yeah, and, I know like, Danny Stout does the same thing. He'll take reclaimed asphalt and then process it, but,
I do the same thing.
yeah, so, but that was, so I haven't been back over to Canavos to take a look at it, and I will do that so that I can see if they're mining new stuff, then he'll get a new permit application.
Well, we can talk after the meeting, because you really wanna leave that to Michael to
Okay,
do, you
that's
know,
fine.
like, right.
That's fine. I just, if all they're doing is processing material, they're not excavating, he'll be able to determine.
No, and I guess it's another reminder for the commission, because this has come up with wetlands, that if an applicant or a prospective applicant contacts you individually, you really don't wanna have discussions outside of the meeting setting, because, you know, it's ex parte.
Yeah.
So you wanna direct them to, talk to staff.
Sure. No, that's a good point.
Yeah, as far as I know, there's nothing to mine over there anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But let him take care of that. and,
Kinda know firsthand.
You know, and Michael will keep the
Yeah.
commission up to
Michael-
date with all
Michael
of,
seems like he's,
Yeah.
he's getting on board, knowing what our expectations are. I mean, my key, what I brought up is, I wanna have consistency and, not a good old boy network where people get approved just because they're a friend or something just gets shuffled off in the woodwork. That promotes people not coming in for permits, and then it jeopardizes the integrity of the whole thing. So either we do it right, or we don't do it at all, as far as I'm concerned.
Great.
Then we can get them on the 2-year schedule too.
Yeah, true.
That's the best part, once we got them going.
Staff report, Pam?
there's a lot of, prospective development, but nothing that has, come in, quite yet. At the next meeting, I may seek, pre-development meeting, and there's one project that I may ask the commission your last recollection of use, because there's some discussion about, what the last historical use was of a downtown property. There's, again, the Kentucky Fried Chicken, not Kentucky Fried Chicken, I'm sorry, Wendy's, is supposed to be home to that new chicken restaurant. She's called again. She's really been doing her due diligence here in town before diving in. And then Economic Development Commission reported that the 10 Bridge Street building is again listed for sale. But as you have another applicant who may want a pre-development meeting, but I think they're still working on their plans and drawings and the written statement of use. It may involve a text amendment to the regs. It's in the rural residential zone. So there's things that may be coming before you, but there's nothing new to
Okay.
really report on that.
Okay.
One thing you may wanna just have Mike take a look at is up at the old hospital, 115 Spencer Street, out in back of the parking lot. If somebody's dumping tons of wood, brush over the bank up there, and crushed rock and everything else. So, I mean, I know that's not permitted for a stump dump, so,
Yeah, right.
and I'm sure there's no erosion control at the bottom of the slope. I didn't
Yeah.
look, but,
Yep.
it'd be something that Mike will take a look
Yep.
at.
I'll ask them.
Okay, yep.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. I said under, we're gonna add these other issues here with regards to the state land. Troy and I went to a meeting over with COG, and there's some stipulations with regards to the auxiliary apartments, that the state wants to just have the right to just do it. Anybody can do it on any piece of property. And it's kind of, to me, it's going toward the the windmill thing and the solar panel thing where they get site selections from them, the state, and they bypass local input and so forth. And we have auxiliary apartments in our zoning. I think we've been ahead of that. I mean, it wasn't in the old one, and there were things being developed without the appropriate approvals, but we did add it, and I think I think we did a good, provided a good process to do it. So, in my point of view, and that's why I want you to think about it, not to make a decision tonight, but we have an opportunity as a community to opt out of that. And the first question I asked over there in Litchfield, there, wherever we were, Morris, I guess we were that night, is they usually have a hammer against you that is money. So if you opt out, there's gonna be a cost to us of getting grants or whatever, but they said there's nothing at this point. I've already talked to Candy about it and Josh, so I got to try to get them thinking about it. We can opt out of it, but it's gonna take an action of both our commission and the Board of Selectmen. We can't do it independently. It's gotta be together. So if you could think about it, I don't know if you've seen it, has everybody seen it? I
Read
know.
a lot of it online, yeah.
Yeah, okay, this public act. Have you
Yep.
seen all that? Okay, you seen it, Troy? Okay, if you find out that you don't have it, just let me know and I'll scan it and get you a copy of it, or maybe you've got it on record, or if you might have.
Do you want to draft opt-out language for next meeting? Like, is that something that, you know, you want to at least consider?
Let's bring this into November.
Okay.
I just want everybody to think about it, because the other issue is the marijuana law that was passed. And there's been communities that have put in, you know, opposition to it, and others that have said it's, you know, they've got ordinances with regards to where you can and cannot, as far as the public spaces and parks and recreation fields. But we dealt with the medical marijuana, and we had, we've got it in our zoning with regards to where these could be located. I went up to Great Barrington, I just wanted, because there's a number of things in Great
There's
Barrington.
at least 4 of them.
Yeah, and I wanted to see
And
what,
Main Street.
Yeah,
yeah,
every one of them.
yeah, that was a surprise to
In
me.
the center of town,
Yeah.
everywhere.
But, so I went in, not that I purchased anything, but to get in the first little cubby hole, you had to have you know, your ID, your driver's license. And then they scanned it through the card scanner, and then they let me into the inner side, and then they did the same thing again. So when I asked about it, there's a 20% tax on whatever is
There's
purchased.
a huge amount of income coming into the
Yeah.
Barrington and the state.
So I think, you know, the political decision-making probably will be in the line of a revenue source. My daughter works for DMV down at Weathersfield, and she's in, she handles a lot of the CDL stuff and, you know, the problems with it, with medical and so forth. But when I talked to her about it, she said they had a lot, I guess she was at a seminar in Omaha, and the Colorado was out there, and they talked about what's going on. Well, the only way that she's told me that they can verify that in fact you're impaired with marijuana is a blood test. So they have to have a van, and they've got to be trained and medically trained and so forth to do it. Can you imagine the cost of doing this? So I don't know where that's going,
Yeah,
but
there's a
there's
whole lot of issues
certainly,
with that.
there's certainly a lot of issues that are really not on our bailiwick. But just think about, well, back to, you know, going to these places, I went to 2 of them to look at them. And there's one right on Main Street, it's a storefront. And if you didn't pay any attention to it, nobody's hanging around, you know, with any kind of sign of using the material. It was like business as usual. And so I guess they can be located as long as there's security, and there's probably state regulations with regards to it. But the reason why I brought it up tonight is I'd like to have you do a little homework yourself and think about, and you're, even though you're an alternate, and Troy's an alternate, even without being seated, we wanna have the entire board discuss this issue and bring these things, you know, so we can really have, different perspectives on it. So just, I don't have any suggestions, I just want you to think about it, because we're gonna have to start dealing with this.
Did Mark Brantz get any information for us or for New Hartford?
He sent some links,
Yep.
but they weren't current.
Yeah.
They, you know, they were kind of stale, so I was waiting, because I know he puts them as public on Hellern and Sage, you know. So I think, you know, it was right away after the legislation
Yeah,
was passed, so I
exactly.
imagine it'll get developed.
Yeah, because I know a lot of towns have passed moratoriums for a year, some
Yeah.
2 years, to do no action at all. So-
Yeah, and I don't think that's, in my opinion, I don't think we should be just pushing the can down the street.
No, I
think
don't
we should
either.
be
No. Address the issue.
addressing it just like we did with the medical marijuana.
Yeah, I agree.
And the other thing is, if you've seen this article with what just happened with single-family zoning in California?
I sent it to you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yep,
Holy mackerel.
they've outlawed them, basically.
Speaking of that, in soft land use, what they say, by 2023 or 2025, you can't have chainsaws and mowers,
Weed whackers, generators, any
anything that has
gas-powered
gasoline,
equipment.
yeah,
It's gotta be battery or electric powered.
yeah. You imagine what,
Oh, it's until 32, I think, right?
Yep,
oh, that'd be lovely, that'd be nice.
so, give them another 5 years, they'll bring it here to Connecticut.
Well, that's what I said, keep your eyes open.
Massachusetts already, I think,
Oh,
passed,
yeah.
was it 31 or 32? No gas cars to be sold.
Yeah, well, we gotta wean us old timers that have, it'll be a long time before I give up my gas.
Yeah, me too.
I'd be all for it if they can find a place to get rid of it when they go bad, because they can't.
Yeah, oh, yeah, and the exotic metals they're used in some of these batteries, it's gonna be worse than trying to get rid of anything else.
Graveyards
terrible.
full of them electric cars because they can't do anything with
Is
them.
that right?
Yeah, yeah, they got major problems with that stuff right now.
So, okay, well, I wanted to get it, because we're gonna have to deal with this, and so
Yeah, we are.
I don't wanna, bring it up and then say, okay, how about this now? So,
Well, mentioning that, from what I understand, have you heard anything, Pam? I heard Stop and Shop is gonna put in a bunch of car chargers.
There was some discussion among the Conservation Commission,
Okay,
John
because I
Weir
heard that a
reported.
week or so ago, so it was,
Yeah,
I don't know when or what their time frame is, but.
Conservation Commission's meeting this
Yeah,
week, so
okay.
I think John Weir
I figured John would
Yeah.
know if anybody.
I'm sure he'll report
Yeah.
on it.
he reported it to the Board of Selectmen, I think
Oh,
he
there
said
you
it's
go.
scheduled, yeah.
Okay.
He didn't say, I don't think he said how many, though.
No.
There's been no permits yet for.
No, no,
Yeah,
but it's just gonna happen, so, I know that.
But
I would think they'll come in though, to get
Yeah.
permits for it.
you imagine the modification of your home electric, if you're gonna start doing home charging?
It's,
They actually
that's
come
the
in and
whole
do it
problem
for you.
with, the idea is good, but the infrastructure's not there.
That's right.
And you look at California, they've got rolling brownouts, blackouts and everything
Yeah, oh,
else. And they just keep pushing electric,
Well, I was
I need to
thinking
get my
too,
cell phone to come in half the
Yeah,
time.
I know it.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to get cell phone service.
That's all I'm looking
let's
for.
go that far, yeah.
George and I have that discussion
Oh, many
all the
times.
time, once a week.
Well, that's part of the thing that was brought up over there at this Morris meeting was trying to get
Well,
fiber optics.
We've got luck, there's supposed to, AT&T's
That
supposed
I
to
would
put a
like to
cell up
see.
on the microwave on top of Platte Hill,
Uh-huh,
hopefully by next year, so.
Oh, wow.
We might get service.
this is good. Peter has his fingers on the
Oh,
pulse of some
you
of
know
this
your
stuff.
stuff, man.
Yeah, well,
No, I'm just a pain in the rear. Because I go after people for
Well,
these
good.
things.
Whatever works.
George, not to change the subject
Yes,
on solar stuff and all that, but back to the marijuana.
yeah,
I've been paying attention to this. There's a lot of, like you said, a lot of towns are in moratoriums and they're passing, they don't even discuss it.
Yeah.
I think it's an opportunity for a town to take advantage of something that everyone else is passing up to be utilized in Winsted. We live here, could use some revenue to fix a lot of things, and
No,
our neighbors.
I agree.
So this is something we might wanna
Well,
tackle soon.
I gotta agree with you, because, you know, I think it's not our position to talk about, you know, all the social costs. We're a land use. And if you can go to Massachusetts and get this stuff now, what happens, they start opening a couple of stores in Torrington, or something happens in Barkhamsted or something, and we don't do anything, that revenue from our community is going there, and then, and people are gonna participate, and you can't, you know.
Going there now.
Like, I don't like gambling, but they're gonna go down to Mohegan and Foxwood, so what are you gonna
Except for
do?
basketball, you can't bet on
Is,
basketball.
is the state going to allow Winston to tax them?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a part of the revenue, the tax that comes out, I think Candy said it's, I think, 3%.
I thought 3% is what I read.
Yeah.
You can go up to 3%, the town municipalities can
So
tax.
3% would come to the municipality.
If you take a ride up to Great Barrington, to not the new one, the first one they put in, and
Down by Price
I used to
Chopper?
drive by there
McDonald's and Price Chopper,
every day I drive by there making a delivery. There is a line every single day
Yes.
down the parking lot for that place. Now they built a new one,
South of town.
yes. And
Yeah,
it's
with
like-
greenhouses they've got there. out
Yeah,
back.
they're a grow facility also.
Yeah.
and
They're actually right on
store.
Sheffield, that one is.
And that one's so big, they don't have a line because they're all
Right.
inside, but if you look
But
at
I
the
went
car
into that,
traffic,
and they've got it staged in anticipation of big lines.
they do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
then
there's-
they've got two
there's-
more up on Main Street in storefronts.
It's a large source of revenue
Yeah.
that could be used.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think, you know, that's why I bring it up. Let's think about it, do your homework on it, and let's be proactive rather than, you know, just wait for everybody else to make.
The other thing we may wanna look at addressing, because we've got so much rural farmland, is
Yeah.
that, you know, there could be somebody looking at growing it
Yeah,
as a production facility too.
Good point.
When I was
And that's
zoning
something we need to address, so.
okay.
when I was zoning officer in the town of Harwinton, we were starting to get applications for hemp, growing hemp,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's totally legal.
Yeah.
And they're making all kinds of derivatives from that
Yep.
for health reasons, and that's gonna be just as big as the marijuana. So
Okay, all right. So let's get on the, you know, on the wagon here to figure it out, what we should be doing and what we can be doing, and capitalize on it. If it's gonna be a wave of the future.
Winston will go back to being farmland again.
even if it keeps our taxes where they are now for the next 10 years, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyways, it's, you know, we can't, I mean, I'm not a youngster anymore, and, so, you know, you can't just, we gotta look at open minds and talk about it, do your homework. Okay, number 10 is approve the 2022 regular meeting schedule, which Pam has supplied us.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2022 calendar.
Okay, need a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? So we only had one, it's another Columbus Day, or whatever they're
Yeah.
calling it, that bumps us into the next night, because I've got sewer and water across the hall.
I'm just gonna give you a heads up right now, that the winter months, if it's snowing or anything, I will not be here.
Yes.
No excuse.
Well, that's why I said to Felix, if anytime anybody is not gonna be here, if you can text me or text to Pam, the only thing I wanna do is not wind up coming in here and getting cell phones out and wonder if we're gonna get a quorum. It's
Yep.
not fair to any applicant, so just, as soon as you know, don't hesitate. You know, we'll cancel a meeting if we cannot have a quorum. I'd rather do that ahead of time. I've been as an applicant in too many places, and it ain't fun. And it's not fair to the people that are paying for
Especially when
professional
they've done
assistants,
plans and stuff like this,
Yeah,
where they've
exactly.
got a lot of money and they've
Got
got
engineers,
engineers
you
coming
got,
in and
you know,
things like that. It's,
attorneys.
yeah.
This is my philosophy, and what we're here for is to serve the public and facilitate growth, not be kind of a king here.
We'll know way ahead of time.
Yeah, well, of course, global warming, we may not get any snow this winter.
It doesn't snow in Norfolk anyways.
It's been snowing in Norfolk when it was really nice here, so.
I grew up there, so
You know.
there's nothing you're gonna tell me about it, I don't already know. I run the town plow trucks as a kid.
Okay,
I'm pretty much gonna be
School.
working,
That
there's
was
no
when they
doubt
owned-
about it.
motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Okay,
That's when they had the
Troy is
old
a
gas
second, all
powered
in
Ford
favor?
Farm and Herrings.
thanks for the preparation.
The good old days, as they say.
I'm going with George, this El Nino's gonna make it a spring like winter, so that'll be great. That's not what I heard.
My snow blower, 24 years old, so I sent it over to get it repaired. They finally looked at it after about a month and a half, and they said, it's terminal. It's gonna cost more to repair it than you go ahead and
So
buy it.
you know now that you bought a new one, it's not gonna